Hi guys. So I was just gonna jump on here really quick, and I was gonna talk a little bit about. People ask me a lot of the time. I've had a lot of questions about the difference between twin pregnancy and singleton pregnancy, and so I thought I would just record a video basically answering all the questions because it's a lot easier than trying to type out my answers because it's pretty involved. Obviously, to preface this video, every pregnancy is different. What's happening to me might not happen. Even if I were to get pregnant again with twins in a year, God willing I don't, but it could be a totally different pregnancy. So just my pregnancies and my doctor's visits, my labor, my delivery, all of those are very specific to me. But again, I'm happy to answer the question because it is really different. And overall, you can imagine carrying two babies, your body's doing a lot of work, so it's going to be different. So we'll just jump right in. So my singleton pregnancies, I have been really blessed. I started having kids pretty young. I was 23 when I got pregnant with Sadie and 24 when she was born. And then I was 25 when Killian was born. So I was young, and I'm 26 now and I'm pregnant with the twins. So I was young, and I think my body was okay with that, so I had good pregnancies. So Sadie's was by far the easiest because it was my first. I didn't even have my first doctor's appointment with Sadie until I was 18 weeks, which I would not recommend, but that was just my circumstance at the time, and that was how it went. And she was good. She was perfect. Found out she was a girl. My very first appointment, so that was exciting. And then it was pretty routine after that. I had to play a little bit of catch up, so I did have the first few appointments were pretty close together because I had to do all the blood work and all that stuff. But then after that, it was pretty normal. I had my first ultrasound was at 18 weeks, and then I did have another one at 20 weeks with her, just a growth ultrasound, which is pretty standard. And then I had concerns just because it was my first pregnancy. I didn't know what to expect, and I knew we had some family history of heart problems on both sides of the family. So my OB who I saw with her, he was like, okay, well, if you're concerned, let's just go get it checked out. So I went to a maternal fetal medicine doctor, and they did an ultrasound. She was fine. There's nothing wrong with her. But so I did have that extra ultrasound, and then 32 weeks I had one. And I think that was about it. Maybe one more. Only because, and that I think seemed like a lot of ultrasounds at the time. And I think it was probably, considering everything was fine. But I might have had more because the doctor I was seeing with her, the OB I saw with her, he had an actual ultrasound machine in his office. So it was just more convenient. If I had any concerns, or if I was like, I don't know if she's head down yet, he's like, well, let's just check. And he would just flip it on and check it out. So, my pregnancy with her, pretty easy. I was nauseous from 5 weeks until 9 weeks. I did throw up with her pregnancy, and so far it's the only pregnancy I have thrown up with. So again, I've been pretty fortunate, but, literally I can count 5 times. I actually threw up. Otherwise, and the only thing with her that made me sick was my prenatal and, water on an empty stomach, and that would instantly make me sick. But yeah, she was born 40 weeks, 5 days. She was 6 pounds, 13 ounces. And yeah, labor with her was long, but I was at nothing. I was a 0. So that's how that went. But, so I had my first contraction at 1 in the morning on the 12th. And then she wasn't born until 10:30 in the evening that night. So it was long, but again, my body it was the first time I'd done it. So then hers was pretty easy. I got pregnant with Killian about 6 months later, and that was significantly more challenging, but it's still not that bad. I think my body was just tired basically with him. So I made a mental note when I was pregnant with him that I did not want to get pregnant that quickly after he was born. I knew I wanted to wait at least 11 months after he was born. For some reason I had that number in my mind that was a good number. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I got pregnant with him in December, and he was born in September, and he was born at 41 weeks even. So he was even later than Sadie. And he was a big baby. He was 8'5". So you never know what you're going to get. But he was good. I mean, his labor was really... I guess I was kind of in labor on and off for like a week before I had him. But then his labor was pretty quick. I like went into labor, I think it was like 12:30 in the morning. And it was on the 16th. And then he was born at like 7:45. So it was faster. I mean, I know some people have faster labors, but I'm not one of those people. But it was faster than Sadie's. But when I started labor with him, the day I went into labor, I was actually already at like 3-4 centimeters dilated. So I was just kind of walking around in labor for about a week. But the pregnancy with him physically was challenging, but like nausea-wise, I was good. You know, I never had to throw up with him. And again, it was like prenatal that made me sick, coffee. And I learned with his pregnancy, if I had protein in the morning, I'd be fine all day. If I had like carbohydrates in the morning with breakfast, I was sick for the rest of the day. So, but otherwise, you know, I got really, really big with him. I was just ridiculous. I gained 50 pounds with both of my kids. Again, I wouldn't recommend that. But I saw a midwife with his pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy with him, and I loved it. I loved the experience. And, you know, if you are able to see a midwife and if it's safe for you and, you know, a doctor would recommend it, or if you feel like it's the right decision, I would recommend it. It was such a great experience for us. But his care, pregnancy care and all that was much more hands-off, and I loved it. So I had my first ultrasound at 12 weeks, and I didn't have another one until he was 20 weeks, and then 32 weeks. And that was it for ultrasounds. And they were very okay with my style, which is basically, you know, just let me do this, and I just want you there to catch the baby. That's basically all I really want the doctors for. And they were okay with that, and I love that it was really in my control. So his went very... Physically, I was bigger. I think it was very circumstantial. The two kids were very close together. The pregnancies were close together. He was a lot bigger. And I had her to chase after. So things were just different. This time around, this is a whole new ball game. So I found out I was pregnant with the twins in August. I didn't know they were twins yet, but I just found out I was pregnant in August. And I was having symptoms really early, like 4 weeks, 3 weeks. I was feeling nauseous. And like nauseous all day long. Like crazy, horrible nauseous. Couldn't eat anything. I didn't actually gain any weight until I was 12 weeks pregnant, which was that's not really like me. With Sadie, I gained a pound a week from the time the stick turned positive until she was born. With Killian, I had a little bit more self-control until the end, and then I just sort of lost control at the end and just ate whatever I wanted. But with the twins, yeah, I was sicker and really, really tired, and I've been getting better. That didn't get better until about 14 weeks the sick. The tired, it still comes and goes, but I'm really anemic this pregnancy, just with some health issues we've had, and I think just being pregnant with twins making me anemic. I had subchorionic hemorrhage that around 12 weeks it actually hemorrhaged, and it's still, I'm 18, almost 19 weeks today, and it's still bleeding, so I'm still like passing it. The babies are okay. They weren't affected by it, but it is something that we're dealing with, that we might just have to deal with for the long haul, which is frustrating, but as long as they're okay, you know, I'll just do what I have to do to keep them safe. But, so that's been really different. That could have happened, though, again, that could have happened with a Singleton pregnancy, and some people have these things happen and they don't even rupture, so it just happened, you know. Just so happened that I'm pregnant with twins when I had this bleed. So, but, yeah, I mean, physically, like, I didn't start, you know, with the other two, it was around 12, somewhere between 10 and 12 weeks, I started feeling like, okay, like, feeling like myself again. With this pregnancy, it wasn't until I was 15, almost 16 weeks. I just had a lot of stretching pain, a lot of, like, I've had a lot of, like, bowel issues, which I know is, like, kind of TMI, but it's true. you know, things have to get out of the way so that my uterus can expand with the babies, and, you know, the bowel is one of those things that has to get out of the way, which causes some issues. So I've been put on bed rest a couple of times actually for, you know, just abdominal pain, and because I've been bleeding, they were like, you know, we'll just take it easy. So I've had to really step back this pregnancy. I've really had to take care of myself. Again, yeah, like the anemia thing, I've had to like up my iron. I'm just increasing it in food right now, and I got a new prenatal that has a little bit more iron. I'm hoping not to have to take an iron supplement if things are okay, just because I've had issues with like the bowel stuff, and iron makes that so much worse. So I'm hoping that I can avoid that and just get it in my food, and hoping my body just absorbs it better that way. But overall, I started feeling like, basically like I'm only pregnant with one baby, right around 16 weeks. I've had some round ligament pain, but again, I think, you know, there's a little bit more weight in there, obviously, for this stage of the pregnancy, but my body's just tired, you know. This is my third pregnancy in 3 years, and I think I trust God's plan, and I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be, but it doesn't mean it's going to be an easy road getting there. So, yeah, the girls are doing good, and we had an ultrasound today, and they're doing great. But overall, yeah, like you can imagine, twin pregnancy is hard. It's a lot harder. It's definitely more physically demanding. I can't actually lift my kids, which to me, that's really, really hard. I can't carry them for very long because I'm not able to lift more than 20 pounds, and they're both more than 20 pounds. So that's really difficult. But I've had to just learn to adjust. You know, the baby, he's still a baby. He's 15 months old. And he just really likes his mommy, and he wants to be held a lot. So I've had to just kind of adjust. You know, I've had to get down to his level and just give him hugs when he needs them instead of picking him up all the time. And we brought our, like, picnic table. We have, like, a Fisher-Price little tyke, whatever, picnic table for, like, outdoor patio. And we brought that in so that they could eat there, because for a while I really couldn't pick them up at all. Like, only to put him into his crib. And so we brought that in so that they could eat there together. And that worked out well. Luckily, he did start walking really early. He started walking around 9 months. So we got really lucky that he was walking, at least when I got pregnant. Because Sadie was not walking when I got pregnant with him, obviously, at 6 months old. So that was difficult. Because, you know, even though they start walking, let's say they start walking at 9 months, they're not really walking that you can put them down for at least another 2 months. So, yeah, I mean, we've had some blessings with this pregnancy. Obviously, with twins, we've had twice the blessings, but it's been challenging physically, definitely. But the kids are really excited, and they do understand that there's 2 babies in there, and Sadie's gonna have 2 sisters, and so, yeah, we're just trying to take it all one day at a time, and currently we're in the honeymoon phase of pregnancy, so things are going really well, but I know the big stuff is yet to come. So I'm trying to enjoy this all and, you know, get things done, get prepared now while I have the energy and I can fit through door frames a little easier. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, just go ahead and comment below. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about my singleton pregnancies or even the twin pregnancies. Another thing was I'm not actually seeing a midwife this time around. With Sadie, I saw an OB. With Kellyanne, I was fortunate enough to see the midwives. With this pregnancy, I am strictly in maternal fetal medicine, which is pretty high risk sort of a thing. So I have a lot of doctor's appointments with them. I have an ultrasound every 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, I should say, for growth, and other ultrasounds, just the standard ones. I have 2 gestational diabetes tests that I have to do because of the twin thing. And then once I hit 32 weeks, I'll be having an appointment twice a week for checks and stuff. And they won't let me go past 37 weeks because the girls share a placenta. The integrity of the placenta starts to fade around 37 weeks, so they want to get them out as soon as possible because the risk isn't worth it, you know. So that's whole new territory, is delivering at 37 weeks, especially since my other 2 were overdue. And I have a greater risk of C-section this time around, which again, whole new territory. So yeah, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, obviously, because it could drive me really crazy, but for today, the girls are very healthy, and I'm feeling really good, so that's positive. But yeah, go ahead and ask any other questions you guys have. I'm happy to answer. Just comment below. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.